Hey, good evenings, ladies and gentlemen. Goeienaand allemaal. Tonight we have a very, very important or a very special panel with us tonight. I just want to stop the music quickly. Um, ons het begin te saam met die ding wat ons begin te praat oor alles, right? So alles include politics, it includes religion, alles, because this is the things that I feel we need to address and speak more about more openly and do it with respect, you know. So tonight we're gonna chat about some things that is happening in the church that we're keeping quiet about. Now, why am I always? I'm not. I'm targeting the churches. I'm just telling you guys, ons wil net vir julle wys, wat regtig gebeur en ook wat om voor alert te wees. I grew up in the church. I know the church very well. I know what's happening in the church, and we don't want to target any churches. This program, let me just put it out there, is not to target any churches, but it's to speak the truth, man. It's to tell people about what is happening and what is the things we need to look out for. Because just as corrupt as the government are, just so corrupt has the church become. Ek praat baie saam met julle oor die ding waar ek altyd sê, in a Nova Park, in one road you have 7, 6, 8 churches in one road, but it's the most violent place. Why? The church is supposed to be a place where people are reformed, where people are reconciled, where things are changing, but things are not changing. People are becoming worse because I believe many things are being allowed in the church. But without any further ado, I've got two gentlemen with me. You will know the one, Andre Scheffer. He joins me every month. And then I have Dustin with me as well. So I want you guys, ek wil hê julle moet saam met ons praat en let's be honest, let's be civil about this. I think that the main thing is to be civil about this, to be matured about this. And when we talk, let us talk and listen to each other and not become aggressive to one another, but let us get to the bottom of things. Why are the church not doing what it's supposed to do? Hey Andre, how's it? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good evenings, Dustin. Welcome, welcome to Cape Plate Stories.
Evenings, guys. Thank you. Thank you for hosting us, Stan.
Good evening, Stan.
Thank you, thank you. Andre, I'm going to give over to you. Just, ons praat baie, but sê gou vir die mense, sê gou net, wie is Andre, man? Waarvandaan kom Andre? Wie is Andre? Let they just have a bit of an idea, wie is Andre? En jy weet met die kykens, jy kan nie net inkom en jy moet sê van waar jy is, want bel is jou pastoor, nou is so 'n move van hy nie so.
Getuienis, ek moet eers 'n getuienis aflewer.
Getuienis, ja.
Nou, sê as ek die getuienis moet aflewer, dan moet ek eers te reg begin. Jy weet, jy moet begin te groet en as jy begin te groet, begin jy raboe met die eerste by die apostel, die bishop en dan die blomtuin van die Here en so aan. Dan die steen ek is nog altyd Andre Scheffers, al die pad nog steeds van Mitchellsplein. Ek het vir 1 maand in my lewe nie in Mitchellsplein gebly nie, toe bly ek in Parel, so my hele lewe lank is ek in Mitchellsplein.
Wow.
19 jaar, my klong is nou 18 jaar oud, so ek het net voor hy gebore raak, ja. Soos amper 19 jaar terug, het ek my hart vir die Here gegee en is baie lief vir die kerk en vir die Here natuurlik. So het breek my hart om die dinge te sien, man, en om self stil te bly, of om te sien hoe mense stil bly, en die seker maar hoe waar my passie vanaand afkom om mense te waarsku. Ek het baie seer gekry in die kerk. My eerste jaar by die Here, Dustin, toe as haar church split, net 'n jaar bekeer en hierso halfte van die kerk kies die ouderling, halfte kies die pastoor en
Sure.
ek dink dis maar waar alles begin het man.
Yeah.
Om te sien die mense praat van hulle is lief vir mekaar, hulle praat van liefde nou. Van waar ek vanaand af kom, het ons nie bekering gepreekie. You understand? En nou kom ek en die mense praat van ons het die ware boodskap. Maar hier beklei die mense, die ouderlinge en die pastoor wil letterlik mekaar voor die bos gryp. Net 19 jaar oud, ek het nou die dag my bekeer. Ek is nog rof en nog around the edges, kom nog van die wêreld af. En hier sit ek nou voor die ouderlinge, hulle moet vir my 'n voorbeeld wees. En hier sien ek die bekleiere en daai seker maar soos ek sê, waar die passie vanaand af gekom het, want daai is waar ek begin te sien het hoe sonde onder die mat gevee word van sekere mense. Sekere sinne word van die pulpit afgenoem maklik en sekere sinne depending as dit baie kan taai Dustin en dan kan jou nog gou onder die mat gevee word en ons maak jou sommer 'n
Pastor.
leier, sy sommer nou die
Yes.
pastor ja.
Yes.
Thank you, Andre. I'm going to give over to Dustin. Dustin, just introduce yourself and tell the people, say vir die mense, wie is Dustin? And then we will start with the questions. And those people who
Not
want to
a-
ask questions are welcome to do so.
Not a problem. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Cape Town. Hope you guys are doing well. My name is Dustin Davids. Ik ga Afrikaans en Engels praat because ik is a bit nervous because ik was live, man. You understand what I'm saying? So ik praat maar mengels maar vandaan, you understand? So ik is from Mitchell's Plain. I'm from Mitchell's Plain and I'm actually from Tafelsig High. I'm a proud graduate of Tafelsig High. I was also in the church and leadership in church, etc. Very committed in church, helping other denominations out in terms of leadership and stuff like that. But I have chosen to go the professional route. Where me and my family, we are more now education. Currently, ek is nou since 2006 is ek by UWC tot currently, so ek is wat 16 jaar nou by EVK. EVK, Unisa, UWC, ek het dit alles deurgeloop. En ek praat nog altyd saam met ouderlinge. Ek praat nog altyd saam met bishops, ek praat nog altyd saam met apostels. En ek staan buitekant en ek kyk in nou. En while ek inkyk, is ek baie sad wat gebeur in ons kerke. On the Cape Flats, more specifically on the Cape Flats. En Stan en Andre, ek is baie sad man as ek kyk na wat gepreek word in ons kerke and what's the actual state of the people. And I'm talking about more specifically socially, and I'm talking about economically, because socioeconomics is very important on the Cape Flats. As you said, Stan, as jy gaan in an overpark, then you got 10 churches, but are they really effective? That's the question. What's the social condition of the people of the Cape Flats? And our preaching, how does it impact on the people of the Cape Flats? And for me personally, as you said, I'm coming into this discussion respectfully, but I'm coming in with a big question mark, because what's being preached from the altars to our people, to the poorest of the poor, and how they're living, especially when it comes to the pensionable age. It's pathetic, because our people are struggling and they are still waiting on the Lord to come through for them. En dit is mos die boodskap wat ons gehoor vir al die jare. God gaan deurkom vir jou. En ons mense na 30, 40 jaar, ons oumas en ons oupas, hulle wag nog altyd vir die Here om deur te kom. There needs to be this discussion needs to be conducted to at least engage the people and hopefully change their mind. Hopefully change their mindsets on some issues. Thank you, Augustine.
Thank you. I just want to answer Wendy quickly. Wendy asked, said, yeah, is again this. Wendy, we need to talk about this.
Yeah.
I feel that, you know what, we fight government, we
Yeah.
fight everybody outside there, right? They are doing this and that to the community. But in the church, Wendy, there's a lot of culprits that are actually doing exactly the same thing. Corruption is not only in government, it's in churches as well. When you let us go a bit further, if you look at what's currently happening in many churches, churches are being used to launder money for money laundering. These big bosses, you will see them on Facebook when the pastors have no, hulle het niks skaamte nie. Hulle post met die manne, met die groot gangsters wat die underworld hardloop. En dan vat die pastors foto's van hulle. I say the pastors, this is our friends. But this friend is the leader of certain gangs. So this is a problem in a Cape Flats, just like
Yep.
gangsterism is a problem in the Cape
Yep.
Flats, just like drugs is a problem in the in the Cape Flats. Just so is false pastors and men that don't belong in positions that they are in. So we want to talk about this. We need to talk about this. If we don't talk about this and we keep quiet about this, then we are just as guilty as those people
Yes.
on the pulpit. So just to come back to you guys quickly, um, somebody asked here, and here's a very important question, and we can start with this as we move over to what we spoke about earlier on, Dustin. I think it is Peter that says here, evening, hope you guys are well. How do you guys feel about our people falling for these prosperity gospel preachers? So you guys know what is happening with the prosperity gospel preachers. They tell you everything you want to hear. But you pay a price. You literally pay a price to hear what I tell you. They will tell you God said this and God said that. You hear all the nice things about the gospel. You don't hear about you're not living with your own husband. You're not living with your own wife. You don't hear that gospel way of you are sinning and all those things. Just about moving forward. How do you guys feel about the prosperity gospel that is taking
Can
over the Cape
can
Flats? Yeah.
can I just come in, Andre? Because Andre is diep gesout binne die saak. So I just want to give just my 2 cents on this. You know, I grew up before I now joined other denominations in Mitchells Plain, in Beacon Valley. I was in the Docs Mission in Lentegee. I was born into that church, etc. But there's a kleine boortjie, en hy boortjie sê op die pulpit, holiness unto the Lord. And I believe that is the mandate, because the Bible says, talks about a holy people, a holy generation. And when it comes to this prosperity gospel, I'm very concerned, Stan, because if I look at what's happening in America, and look, I'm just being honest, all of our guys are imitating the Americans. Bishop D, Bishop Day, ons gaan mos op YouTube so, ons sien mos wat hulle sê van die false prosperity gospel preachers and so. So they come and they want to wear those suits. They come and they want to wear the beards of Wody Boukham. Kom ons sê dit is. So they come with those ideologies, and our people on the Cape Flats, we are not economically equipped to support that gospel, because that gospel is you must actually have money in your pocket to support that to support that gospel. And sorry, I just have a problem now with that, because as I say, I'm more concerned about our people socially and economically. Also means also look here, I've seen it now with my own eyes, man. I was a youth pastor at the church in Strandfontein. This couple that mentored me, they feel in their heart, because the pastor, because the bishop said that that you must give your all this Sunday. I walk home with him after the service. Into kyk, ons het eens 'n curry, hulle het eens 'n curry. En hulle twee breek uit in 'n geveg. Kos die man het die liggeld en die kosgeld en die petrolgeld vir 'n week gegee en dit gaan gooi in die offering basket. And I'm walking there. I'm a 23-year-old youth pastor. And I'm like, what is happening here? This isn't what's supposed to happen when you leave church. Now, yes. I look at all of these scenarios, then I make resolutions for myself. When I get married, I don't want this to happen for me and my wife one day. And by God's grace and God's wisdom, I have made those resolutions and said I'm putting things in place to not be tempted into that prosperity gospel. But it's hurting our people, and it's saddening, and it's infuriating how it's hurting our people, because it means geld En dan op die einde van die dag, Sondagmiddag, bel die mense vir ons. Sorry, but don't you have 300 rand to lend me, man? Okay, but what did you do with your money? No, the bishop said that I must give it to God, or I must give it to this and I must give it to that. That is irresponsible giving. And that's where the problem lies for me.
Yeah. Andre, to you? Could just mute or just unmute.
Actually, myself and Dustin actually met after one of these conversations. And Dustin inboxed me and said, Yoke, Andre, what you're saying is so true. I can relate to so many of the things you are saying. And for years, the things that you are saying now has been the carpet, was pratia one. En wat die prosperity gospel natuurlik inkom. Ek sal altyd terug gaan na wat Paulus sê vir die kerk in Galasiërs, wat hy sê, chapter 1 verse 6. I am astonished, I am amazed that you are so quickly turning away from the gospel to another gospel that is actually no gospel at all. So prosperity, health, wealth, name it, claim it, all these things, it is all stand part of the gospel. But you can't say there's a prosperity gospel. Because it is gedeelte van die evangelie, but die mense het die evangelie kom maak. So now if we do not have what they have, that's supposedly blessed, then we do not serve the Lord correctly. Kyk, sy dien nie die Here reg nie, want sy kan nie arm wees en nog altyd in Mitchellsplein bly as die Here 20 jaar dien nie. So now we are feeling inferior. Sy sit al klaar met 'n minority complex en nou voel sy in die kerk waar sy moet opgebou word sy afgedruk. But daar word nog altyd 3, 4, 5 offerings opgevat. Van dieselfde arme mense om daai mense wat daarvan want hulle bly nie in Mitchellsplein meer nie. And again, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with God elevating people and you moving to a suburb and so on. God is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. That's a fact. But do not you come and use the gospel to enrich yourself. En dan wil sy nog die mense agterna op 'n guilt trip sit. En dis wat Paulus sê. En nou om in a way Wendy se question ook te antwoord, because mense soos Wendy was ek gewees, Stanley. You understand? Jare terug was ek ook soos Wendy. As iemand gepraat het teen aan my pastor of teen aan my leaders, dan het ek ook vir hulle attack because julle bly negative, julle bly so anders. So ek was daar 10 jaar, man. Wat ek you see nothing wrong with leadership because in your eyes they can do no wrong. But in the end they use your vulnerability, they use your gullibility, and they lose the fact that you are naive. Ek gaan soms soveel om te sê, ek Andre was stupid because I would give money to the church thinking I gave it to God. Maar dan bied my vrou nie af aan nie. 5000 rand gee ek vir die kerk. Koop gou vir die kerk. Ek sit by vir die kerk om 'n taxi te koop. Maar ek loop. You understand? Maak dit sin. Huh? You understand? So these are things that I personally did. And for years, and then you think like Dustin started off, they think, as ek net meer gaan gee, then God would come through for me. And that's what they teach us every Sunday. You almost at the end now, before you want to give up, just trust God a little more. Trust God a little more. En God bekom vir ons soos Vader Christmas. You understand? Because ons ken nie meer die verskil nie. Mense het nou 'n relationship because as alles, die goeie goed gaan uit. Don't you know, for in the last days, people will heap up for themselves teachers that will preach and teach to their itchy ears, saying things that they want to say or hear, but not what God is really saying. And daai is hoekom Andre so passionate is oor die dinge, because ek het baie geld verloor, want ek is een van die gelukkiges wat nog die Here dien, man. Wat nog binne in die kerk is en baie lief nog steeds vir die kerk is en van die binnekante af wil sê, kyk hier, ek stem nie saam met dit wat gedoen word daarvoor nie. Stand het vir vanmiddag my gebel en sê, we need to talk up and say, look here, we are unhappy with what's happening. Because as niemand niks sê nie, dan gaan dit aan. Paul vra 'n vraag en hy vra, have I now become your enemy because I'm telling you truth? Am I now trying to win approval from men, or should I try to win approval from God? So it doesn't matter who's trying to silence me and we say what. Op die einde van die dag, obedience to God is better than sacrifices.
Yes.
You understand? So daai is hoekom ons dit doen wat ons doen. En dit is nie om vywe by mense kry nie. Ek kry meer haat van mense af. Want dit gaan nie oor my gevoelens nie, man. As 'n mens geroep is vir iets, kan jy nie weer weghardloop af nie.
Ja.
En Andre, jy is so reg wanneer jy begin te uitpraat, jy is nie popular nie. You're never going to be popular. You are going to be the least popular. So ek verstaan waarvan dan jy kom daar so. But I just want to focus quickly. There's two things that came out in the comments and that you guys mentioned. Many of these pastors don't work, okay? And some of them are extremely young. Some of them are 30 or 40 or they're still young. They can still work. There's nothing wrong with them, you know. And the other thing that I just want to say is that, you know why I want to speak about this. My skoonma het vir jare gewerk. She was the one, the breadwinner in the family. While my father-in-law was full-time. He was full-time, but she supported him. Because they needed money, they needed to survive. They didn't ask the church a cent because the kerk het nie geld gehad nie. In the community where most of these preachers are based, like you say, is mense wat nie geld het nie. Sometimes, you know, these people can't even afford to get to work next week. Because you know what, the money they have is not enough. In most cases, it's grandmothers looking after the grandchildren, not getting any money. Now you still expect this grandmother to give a last money so that you as a pastor can, you know, tell them God is going to bless you. And then our people are so vulnerable and also so gullible. We expect blessing. Years go by, but I haven't been blessed over the years because we haven't sowed right. You know what? A farmer, if a farmer has a farm, right, and hy maak dit reg om te boer. Sê hy gaan nou groente plant. If that soil is not right, he can sow that, and if you don't water it, it's not gonna grow. The same with our people as well. We need to remember when we do sow, it must be in fruitful ground. So sometimes the word is not from a person is supposed to be, and we need to also ask ourselves, are we in the right space? So what do you guys think about pastors that don't work? Because now you're in a church that are actually struggling financially. People are struggling financially. Now you're putting pressure on them to pay the tithes, to look after the building, to look after you, to look after your wife. And remember, some pastors take money for them and their wives, and they also get a vacation. What is your take on this, especially when it comes to the Cape Flats where people don't have money?
Can I just come in there? Oh, do you want to go? Andre, you can go?
No, go. You go first.
Okay, thanks. My view on this is especially with the COVID period. Die COVID period was 'n groot skok nou vir almal. I'm of the opinion, and I've actually spoken to my wife about this as we were driving home last week, that who does God give the vision to? Or who does God give the mandate to? God gives the mandate to the pastor. But then at the end of the day, it is once again, it's sad for me because the pastor, once we serve under that pastor, then it is almost like a given that you guys must give. And that for me is a big concept. Okay. For example, me and my wife, we had a fellowship, just a very small fellowship now a few years ago. And it was time restricted. And God has given me now the vision, but I did not expect the people that was in the fellowship for that time. It was very time sensitive for that time to give into that fellowship because God has given that mandate to me. And at the end of that fellowship, there was people that advanced in life. Some people got or bought 2 or 3 properties, and the people really advanced because I was teaching the people sustainability, economic sustainability in their lives as Christians, how to go forward. Because the Bible says in the book of Proverbs that a wise man or a good man leaves an inheritance. And for that time period,
Amen.
That was but I did not expect of the people, look here, you guys must give tithes and offerings, where's your tithes and offering, and I make you feel bad on tithes, because God gave that mandate to me. So all of the expenditures for that time period, I bore that. Me and my wife bore that. And I believe, look, Ons wil alles spiritualize, man. Ons wil die Bybel gooi, ons wil feeste gooi en die mense sit daar en look, I am a very practical guy. Guy. Ek kyk na 'n ding, ek staan weg van die ding af en dan kyk ek na dit prakties toe. Ja, praat die woord, maar kom ons kyk prakties na 'n ding toe, man. God gave that vision to you, so you must be responsible and you must go find yourself a job and you must go work to sustain that vision. We will come along and we will give as we can, but don't come and expect that we must give 50% and when we get our performance bonus December's, ons moet alles gee. No, that's wrong. Andre?
Ja, Stan, ek stem saam met Dustin, man. Ons verstaan die konsep van God doesn't call the qualified, no? He qualifies the call.
Yes.
So Paulus sê ook that for when I preach, I cannot boast because I am compelled to preach. Nou die probleem vandag met baie is dat ek kan 3, 4, 5, miskien 20 sermons kan ek preek, dan automatically besluit die mense Andre is 'n pastor.
Ja.
Die leiers, hoe kan hom besluit sommer? Hy's 'n pastor. Depending on hoeveel geld ek kan gee ook vir my leier, because ons verstaan is nou julle vaders en son ding. So my obedience towards my father will then determine if I can become a pastor too.
Yeah.
Nou kry jy mense wat in leierskap is, wat pastors is, wat die geroep is. You understand? God never called them into full-time ministry. Ons is almal geroep for go out and make disciples of all nations. Almal van ons, irrespective wie ons is. Matthew 28, 18 en 19 gaan uit. Almal moet dit doen. But nou wil ons 'n prys by die evangelie sit. Yep. Ons wil nou mense begin te saad vir die evangelie. Nogtans sê Paulus vir ons in 1 Korintiërs 9, for freely I have received and freely too I will give. I more than others have the right to live from the gospel. But I will not use that right because for me it is a privilege to be able to be of use of God. You understand? Maar nou is weer soos ek gesê het, die mense vat, Andre preek nogal lekker wag. Ons kan vir Andre gebruik om want uit 'n groot mond, man. En as gevolg van sy mond kan hy lekker tithes en offerings opvat. Yep. En dit kom hier van die hart af. Vir my is ek dink altyd, hoekom is meestal van die disippels dan vissermanne gewees en manne wat gewerk het met hulle hande, man? Yep. Because they worked. Dit was nie lui ouens nie. Hoeveel van die leiers vandag is net lui, hulle wil nie werk nie. Nou het hulle wy gevind om gou geld te maak. En wat doen hulle? In 20, sê 30 jaar terug, die pastors het gewerk in hulle gemeenskappe. En nie net 'n funeral, ek praat nie van 'n funeral doen van die ene nou en dan nie. Nou they work. Sommige hulle het geloop en kry hulle net 'n sakkie lamoene, man, van die kerk af. Because they did it, because their hearts were pure. In elke professie staan hy's baie op die pad en sy werk met almal. In elke professie, mense gaan nie meer, bekom nie meer teachers, laat ek reg sê. Baie teachers raak net teachers vir die paycheck. But there's no more passion. Daar is nie meer passie vir die kinders nie. Hulle kan nou sê van doctors, hulle kan nou sê van enige trade, en sadly, dis dieselfde in die kerk. Daar is nie meer die shepherds wat leaving that 99 men to go after that lost CP, because daar's te veel, ek sal aan mekaar verstaan sê, daar's te veel hirelings wat kerke besit. And a hireling only looks after the sheep because of the benefit. He gets paid to do it. So now people get money for what they're doing within the church, and they don't do it because of the love they have for the people. And nou mense word seergemaak. Mense word gevictimized. Mense is kwaad vir die Here vir jare. Mense gaan vir 5, 6 jaar nie meer kerk toe nie, because hy het seer gekry in die kerk. En niemand vat responsibility vir daai nie, because ons sê net bid vir hulle. Vergewe hulle. Los hulle in die hande van die Here. And of course all these things sounds right, but people are being wounded. Daar's soveel mense wat sit vandag met anger issues. Ons het gepraat 'n paar maande terug. Die Ponzi scheme staan. Vanmiddag praat ek weer met 'n vriend. Die karretbaas en goed. Die goed is in die kerk gestaan. Die
Ja.
goed as die pastors gestaan. Toe hy ding fail, almal is doodstil. En nou
Ja.
as Andre of iemand praat nou wil ons that's not the Lord's anointed.
Ja.
Ek ken mense wat 500,000 rand verloor het, ken ek een pastoor.
Ja. Ja.
500,000 rand. Sy life savings basically.
Sure.
En al wat ons sê is dat los hulle nie Here se hande. Mense het harte teks gekry man, because hulle life savings invest om hulle huise second bonds vat en sulke goed, because
Ja.
die ding kan nie verkeerd gaan nie, because pastor sê is reg.
Ja.
You see, daai is die ding. Ons moet regtig waar tot by dat punt kom as mense generally net om op te val vir alles wat pastor sê.
Yep.
Weer die Bereans praat in Acts, die
Yep.
Bereans said unto Paul, everything you preach sounds good, but let us open up the Bible. No?
Yes.
And let us show us the scriptures that you were reading so that we can see if the scriptures that you were reading is the same with what he said here. Because he passed the preek uit John 3 verse 16 uit. Maar hy praat oor Malachi 3 want hy steel die Here se geld. Because die context is nou net geld. Hulle praat oor liefde en dan kom alles terug na geld toe. Geld toe. Is net geld, power, status vandag. En daai is hoekom ek vocal is daaroor, because die Here het gekom, hoe kan vir ons mense man? The
Yes.
Son of Man did not come for those who have it all together,
There we go.
but he came to seek and to save those which are lost. Nou makkelijk hy van ons as hulle sê, ja, Jesus het ook gesê, the poor you will always have with you, because hulle kyk neer op die armes nou,
Yes.
is because jou mindset is nie reg nie. Sy dink nog soos iemand wat sy mind moet verander word. God has great things and wonderful things he has in store for us. I don't disagree with that,
Yeah.
but that's not God's plan for all of us.
That's right.
Som van ons, as die Here nou vir ons moet seën met 1 miljoen rand, môre is ons dood. Dis 'n feit. Ek gaan my are dood druk of dood gamble of iets, maar God kan nie vir almal van ons seën nie. And tell the people, that, like Dustin says, courses man, die kerk moet 'n bietjie mense educate oor hoe om met hulle geld te werk.
Yep.
Ja.
'n Man, hoe om 'n man vir jou vrou te wees. Sandy, ek onthou 10 jaar terug, en ek sal dit sê live hier man. Toe kom ek voor die leierskap by die kerk, toe sê hulle, Andre, ons wil hê jy moet 'n leier raak in die kerk. Toe sê ek, nee pastor. En hy vra, hoekom? Ek haal my Bybel op voor die leiers. Hy vra, hoekom nie? Ek sê, want die Bybel sê, 'n deacon moet 'n man wees van een vrou, hy moet sy vrou lief hê, hy moet sy kinders reg onderrig en hy moet daai dinge doen. My pa se vat my Bybel en hy maak my Bybel toe. Hy sê, ek weet wat die Bybel sê. Ek sê vir jou, ons sien leierskap in jou. Maar ek het nie gekwalifiseer according die Bybel nie. Die Bybel het my gedisqualify. Hoekom? Man, ek was hier die man vir my vrou wat ek moet gewees het. In die kerk vir 2 ure, dan is Andre heilig. Hy doen alles wat pastor hulle sê, hy so gehoorsaam. Kom my by die huis, ek het nie my vrou geslaan nie, ek het nie my kinders abuse nie. Maar ek was nie vir hulle die pa en die man in die huis, soos ek daar buitekant pretend dit. En leiers like sy, baie leiers sal eire opkom teen 'n man en 'n vrou, hulle sal skeiding bring, because hy moet obedient wees aan jou leier. Hulle sal 'n huis opbreek, hy is hoekom die skei rate in die kerk net so hoog soos dit in die wêreld is, because leiers soek obedience aan hulle Stanley, en nie meer obedience aan God nie. Wie ek sal aan mekaar sê, man, die eerste institution wat God in plek gesit het, was
Die
familie,
marriage.
voor haar kerk gewees het.
Yep.
So enige iemand wat kom teen aan familie, is van die duiwel af, man.
Ja, ja. Andre, ek wil gaan net daarso gaan net staan gaan net daar wat sy gesê het nou. Daar's 2 dinge wat sy gesê het is qualification. Ons moet daaroor gaan nie praat gou en ons gaan nie praat oor financial status is. So die financial status wat ek wil oor praat gou. Nou ons moet praat oor die goed because mense moet weet dat hulle het 'n reg om te weet hoe die kerk se boeke lyk. Elke jaar of elke kwart of elke 6 maande moet die kerk die boeke wys vir julle. As 'n registered institution, as 'n NPC, as 'n NPO, as sommige van hulle is 'n NGO, dis wat ek verstaan hoe die kerk geregistered is, and they need to show you the books, die inkomste en die uitgawes. The other thing is this, why I'm talking about this, because I was one of those people that was on the committee as well, so I know these things. Die pastoor en sy vrou moet nie geld tel nie. There must be other people. It mustn't be a biased thing. There must be other people as well. And these people that are counting the money must give accountability to to those people sitting in the chairs. Look here, ons het die geld getel. Die man het ons 10,000 rand gemaakt. Die expenditure was 20,000 rand. Pastor het gekry 7,000 rand. We need to every cent that is being spent must be kept accountable. Must show accountability for, because that is how we will keep things clear. It's no use we talk about the 500 billion rand on Facebook that the government stole, but when we speak about the money in the church, then we say, do not touch the Lord's anointed.
Yeah.
It's the same concept. It's the same thing. So I just want to leave it there. What do you guys? How do you guys feel? And our people need to be proactive. We need to ask questions. Ons moet nie bang wees vir die pastore nie. Hulle is mense net soos ons. Ons moet nie bang wees vir die apostels nie, vir die profete nie. They are not supernatural. They may act like supernatural people, but we need to ask these questions. Wat is die inkomste? Wat is die uitgawes? Hoeveel pay pastor? My pastor, jy kan 'n week kry, hy is qualified. Go get a job. So this is the things that I just want to leave with you guys. How do you guys feel about this?
Can I come in there?
Yeah,
Ek wil net sê, Stan, and I'm just talking from a pure business point of view. No? From a pure business point of view, if you give tithes and offering, mense van die Kaap, luister van my dierbares kinders van die Here. Asseblief, even ons Muslim brothers and sisters, hoor vir my. As julle van julle salaries gee en julle gee tiendes en offerandes, then you immediately, by contract of law, by contract of association, ek praat nou law terms nou, then you are immediately labeled a stakeholder in that church.
Yeah.
And what is the responsibility of a stakeholder? A responsibility of a stakeholder in the church, in the mosque, is that you need, number one, to see what's the governance of that institution. Number one, the governance. Hoe word die dinge regeer?
Ja.
En julle moet vra. Moenie net daar sit met 'n mond vol tande en ja, bishop, ja, imam, ja, amen en amen. No. Julle moet vra. You must be an active stakeholder in the institution of your religion. The second thing is, as you said, Stan, you must ask questions around the finances. Now, as I indicated earlier on, ons as 'n kerk as masters, ons pastors en ons kerkrade as masters met manipulation. I'm saying this with all respect. As die Amelie, but the most of them are killing the reputation of the upright ones. And that's a risk in our society. So julle wat stil bly, julle wat nou reg hanteer julle geld, julle wat reg govern, julle moet begin opraat, julle wat pastore is en kerkrade, en julle moet vir die ouens sê wat vir almal 'n bad name gee. Because op die einde van die dag gaan almal vir julle ook pastore met dieselfde kam skeer. So daar is die ons en julle is een kan nie, is ons is almal saam, because die mense sê is die kerkmense, is hulle almal is die kerkmense. Because die pastors, not one pastor, die pastors is skelm. Daai soos mense praat in die gemeenskap. So at the end of the day, you are a stakeholder. Now, as I say, with the manipulation of the pastors, it comes, and especially for those who are unaccountable. Now, what do they do once you come ask questions? The first thing and the only thing, you are from the devil. Moenie vra kom vra nie. You are from the devil. The devil is using Dustin Davids to ask questions, and then they start spreading rumors so that the other people in the church don't want to associate with Dustin. Now Dustin and his wife and his family feel a little bit out. And if you look at educational terms, yes, that's called othering. Now they othering you out by the church, because you must now leave the church. So they sideline you. Hulle gee vir die koue skoue totdat jy uit is met die kerk. You understand? And that is wrong. So if you leave the church, then that pastor has a responsibility to give you back your money.
Yeah.
Because you must stay cold. Look here. Look. Business-wise. Stan, I invest in a policy. Contract of law. Let's talk contract of law. Ons praat spiritual contract of law. Hulle sê God must give back to you. I give. So some van die mense sê, ek het die baksteen gebou in die kerk. That is my brick that I laid that Saturday morning with my family. Now look, Jay, where did your money go? Because when I invest in at Sanlam or Investec and I close my policy, they
Mm-mm.
must reimburse me with interest and I
Yeah.
go reinvest somewhere else.
Mm-mm.
But why do our people keep their mouth? And look here, man, guys,
Mm-mm.
this is the things that I talk to my friends about in the ministry still. Praise and
Mm-mm.
worship leaders in the church, very dynamic
Yeah.
churches in Mitchell's. Praise and
Yeah.
worship leaders, sing up CCFM. I
Mm-mm.
talk to them these things, and you can see it's playing with their brains because as anti wat hulle geïndoctrineerd men word, man. So my question is, you now joined over the last 10 years, you guys
Mm-mm.
joined 3 ministries. Hoekom lek jou kar nog olie?
Mm.
Waar's al die duisende wat jy elke maand gegee het?
Mm-mm.
Why don't you have money for food for your family? Why
Mm.
are you struggling? Now, my thing, Stan and Andre and the people of Cape Town, is that I just want to say, man, that our pastors, with all due respect, pastors, most of you, not all of you, most of our pastors are teaching us a hocus pocus gospel.
Mm-mm.
Soos ek sê, is a Grand West lottery gospel. Give the
Mm-mm.
Lord 50 rand and you're going to get back 500 rand.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying it's unsustainable for our people. Onze mense gee. Look here, I told my wife one Sunday, look here, I'm not going to go to church. This money, because it's the same thing now that they're teaching you. I'm going to take this money and I'm going to go to Grand West. I'm going to dowel because it's the same thing. Because they give you hope. It's the hope. You give us slot machine, you're going to give, God is going to, through the slot machine, the God of the slot machine is going to give you back your money. That is basically what they're teaching you. This
Yeah.
prosperity gospel is that. It is a
Mm.
lottery gospel. So
Yeah.
I would rather take my chances and actually go to Grand West and go to Las Vegas and throw in a whole night and hope. Because in the Sunday, when they preach me these things, when they teach me these things, I'm also hoping for the best. I'm giving
Yeah.
my loss because I hope God is going to give it to me. What they must do, ladies and gentlemen, as I said last time in a statement on Andre's post, and this was confirmed with another friend about 2 weeks ago when we spoke.
Mm-mm.
One of our, say, praise and worship leaders, they went to a white church up there by the mountain there, Tigerberg side. And you know what? And you know what that white people did in that church to the pastor? They called that pastor into a meeting. We give tithes in this church. What is this guy doing on a Sunday?
Yeah.
And that pastor was forced to fire that guy.
Yes,
One of our
yes,
own
yes.
people here.
Yeah.
But us in the colored communities, we in the black communities, we sit because the pastor is too, him and his wife and their family, they are too overbearing. They are too charismatic, and we like that. We like to
Yeah.
be controlled. So they are too charismatic, and we are scared that they're going to put our names up at the back. Dis nie in Vanessa Davids geen tieners en offerandes nie. So julle naam gaan agter daar op die non-payers of that.
Ja.
Ons wil nie geembarrassed word nie, so ons eire
Magie.
you understand?
Yeah.
And we don't have, I don't have my child's formula milk money. I don't have nappies money, but I'll give to not be there. That must come. We must talk to our pastors, and they must teach us sustainability things. For example, why are the pastors living in the suburbs? Plumstead, Constantia. Teach us how you guys got there. Teach us. Look here. Juanita Bynum preach one sermon. Now I don't listen to a lot of preachers because a person can't trust who you listening to. I'm very cautious who I'm listening to. But Juanita Bynum one day preached, and she said that the pastors must stop preaching spiritual stuff. They must teach people how to come on wealth. You must teach the people. Look here. How must Andre wants to live there? I'm going to sit with these people and say, look here, this is how you get another property. This is how you get that car. And this is how you not get it and lose it, but this is how you keep it.
That's
and
right.
This is how you build the generational wealth. Because that's what, sorry guys, man. I'm sorry, I'm a political guy, man. That is what the white people did. And they're still doing it. They are building generational wealth, but we are preaching this unsustainable, hocus pocus, prosperity gospel, and our people are where they are. And die mense gaan dood in armoede, man. En dan as die mense nog dood gaan staan, soos jy sê 'n paar weke gelede, when the people die, and then they don't even have proper burials because they couldn't afford burial cover. And then the families
true,
must
yes.
now scuttle to put them together and stuff like that. That's what's happening
That's
in our
true.
churches. Pastors, preach us sustainability things, please, in Jesus' name. Stop being spiritual and calling us people like me that actually questions you, calling us from the devil. We are not from the devil. I've got 2 master's degrees. I'm asking you business questions. I'm not from the devil. So I'm asking because you are running a business. So when I ask you business questions, please don't spiritualize it and say, "Oh, he's from the devil." I'm a practical guy. Preach us sustainability. I want to go and I want to stay in Newlands. Teach me what I must do to get there. Thank you.
Yeah. I just want to be, Andre, I'm going to give now over to you. I just want to talk about something quickly, and just to add on to what Dustin said. This is what Jesse is saying, and I'm going to come now to you. We can't expect to get financial education from the church. Okay, Jesse, I'm going to disagree with you there. I'm going to tell you now why. Especially from pastors who beg for a living. Okay, I agree with you. But this is the thing. The church is full of talented people.
Yep.
We have churches with teachers. We have churches with
Yep.
accountants. We have churches that
Thank
are HR
you.
managers. We've got all those
Yes.
resources. If we take that resources back into the church, and this is what will help the Cape Flats, if our churches make bursaries available for our youngsters to go and study, and these people were already skilled, then take these youngsters to the next level. You won't have an Overpark. You won't have there is violence. You won't have a Menenberg, a Mitchell's Plain. You will have better areas. That is where the church is supposed to come in because we have the resources. People pay their tithes. If I pay my tithes at the church, and I see them investing it into our young people, I will pay my tithes every month. But unfortunately, they're not doing that. So the church can be used as a vehicle to steer people in the right direction. So I agree with you there, what you're saying, Dustin.
Can I just come in there, Stan? Sorry, man.
I'm very sorry,
Sorry, man.
man.
Sorry, man, because this is a very passionate what you guys are touching on now. This is a very passionate thing for me. I've experienced this. I've experienced this personally. Our colored churches and our black churches don't know how to handle professional people.
Yeah.
They see us, and I include myself,
Threat.
they see us as a threat in the church.
Yes.
Because as you said also now, Stan, now a few weeks back, you rightly said that the churches need doctors, we need doctors, we need lawyers to keep the pastors accountable. You said that a few weeks ago, and I agreed with you as I watched the show. So they don't know how to handle us because they see us as a threat. Because you guys are too qualified. Because look, we are being taught in university as university students. I'm now 16 years at university. We are being indoctrinated. You must ask and you must question everything. And some of my professors was Catholic priests. Some of my professors at UWC in School of Government, they were Catholic priests, laymen, and they taught us in class, in honors level, master's level, you must question things in the church, you must question things in society, you must question things wherever you go. So now that's now indoctrinated in us. So we come from university graduates, now we sit in church. Now because we are now doing what we were taught was basically in us, asking questions. Now the pastor starts making comments from the front. Now, for example, you, Dustin, some people must ask questions on the money, and the devil is whispering in die duiwel fluister in sommige mense se oor, soos met Dustin Davids and so, and that is where we leave the church because look here, I don't have time for this, man. Look here, I've got a career that I must think of and stuff like that. And now people from the church come and run to me and my wife. Look here, this is going on. Now we must give them expert advice outside of the church where I feel that it should have happened in the church. But unfortunately, some of our pastors also don't have education. So there's also a problem, Stan and Andre. But I will touch on that later.
Okay. Andre, over to you. Oh, het gaat gerookie binne.
Stan mens kan hoor, Dustin is baie passionate oor dit, man. En weer iemand het nou gesê, kyk, dit is die pastors weer, ek dink som van ons het ons prioriteite vergeet, man. Dit is nie soos iemand gesê dat die pastoor se verantwoordelikheid om vir ons meer miskien te leer oor geld, maar hy moet vir ons miskien guide. Pastoor moet mense geestelik voed. Hy sy werk, spiritually, but die sê ding is, omdat hy homself financially wil stable maak, manipulate hy mense, en die mense kry nie die nourishment spiritually en financially. Kyk, ons weet die Bybel sê, man, the borrower will always be a slave to the lender. Ons mense liewe van die money lenders af. Ons mense is elke tweede week by die money lender met interest, 25%, som 30%, som 50%. En hy is dieselfde mense wat in die kerk is elke week. Hy antie gaan na die merchant toe, as hy uit die kerk uit gaan, daar's niks nie, waar gaat sy geld kry vir môre op 'n traveling bed? Weer by die merchant. So die punt is, die antie het haar tiendes nou gegee, wat sy nie op interest betaal het. Maar nou gaan sy weer 100 rand leen, hy selfe 100 rand dat sy nou nie kerk gegee is. So leiers moet die mense dan in areas soos die educate. Because ons gaan aan mekaar soos die Israeliete in cirkels loop vir 40 jaar. Want ons adres nie die olifant in die kamer nie. Is 'n feit dat ons mense weet nie om met geld te werk nie. Ek sal nou nie generalize en sê almal nie, maar dit is so. En nou wil ons die get rich quick schemes begin te. Because van desperation, ons is nou so desperate. Ons try maar die ding uit. En like Dustin sê, ek agree met hom. Is dit geen different van lotto speel nie. Want die dierbare speel lotto, laat die dinge draai nou. Want is die mentality van miskien vandag gaan dit werk vir my. En dieselfde soos Sondag kyk toe gaan met hy hope and expectation, maybe this will be the day that God comes through for me. Nou gaan ek maar en ek speel die lotto en vandag is dit weer die dag en vandag en sy het bietjie hope, only to be let down again. Again little hope, only to be let down again en kom op Dustin se punt. COVID het, lockdown het gemaak dat som van ons mense se oë oopgegaan het. Because in dat tyd die eerste ding wat ek hoor die Catholic Pope sê, die Pope homself sê, people, you don't need to come to us for confession. You can go to God on your own.
Sure. Yes.
En daai slag vir my om, because vir jare het die mense gedink, die man is ons wy na God toe. He's directly what we need to go to God.
Yeah.
So nou kan ons die kerk toe gaan en nou is, ons het direct access. Iets wat ons al die tyd geweet het, wat ons voel ons wil deur 'n man gaan, deur iemand gaan. Iemand moet vir my sê wat om te doen. Ons het die Bybel by ons. You understand? So people are ignorant. Ek gaan nie stry daarteen nie. Soms is dit, ons weet ons is van Mitchellsplein, mense is uneducated en som illiterate. You understand? Hulle kan nie lees en skryf die duisend feit. En die sê ding is, Hosea 4:9 gaan lees het by die huis. The people loved it. Oh, the priests loved it when the people sinned. Because the more the people sin, the more the priests live from the people's sins. So aan mekaar Stanley, as ek Sondag gaan, moet ek iets vir pastor gee, vir die priest gaat gee. As ek 'n duif net kan afford, kan ek net 'n duif gee, of dan moet ek 'n skaap gee, of so. And so the priests were eating from the sins of the people. No different than what we are seeing today. Because die mense dink, ek kan my sonde justify met wat ek gee vir God. And we think giving to the church, we think we're giving to God. Ek het by dat punt gekom wat ek daar wat ek was gesê het, dis nie vir God nie, man. Julle gebruik dit vir julle self, because julle kinders gaan na die beste skole toe. Julle kinders is educated, but hier onder ons, kyk hoe sukkel die mense. So, is God dan net goed vir 'n sekere family? Is dit nou soos, daai hoekom hulle vir hulle self die first family nou koop? Alles wat in die States gebeur, wil ons nou hier implement. Die vrou is die first lady ook, moet my nie verkeerd verstaan nie, ek verstaan onder. Maar ek verstaan ook manipulation. En moet nie ander gebruik om vir my te wil met manipulate. Vir daai seker bietjie groot. Ek mag staan net 6 uit die skool uit is en ek is nie proud daarvan nie. Want ek is nie stupid meer nie. Ek het groot geraak en ek kan nou sien, man, die ding weet net een wy, man. Ek sal altyd verstaan sê die Ponzi schemes en sekere kerkleiers is in dieselfde WhatsApp groep. Because die mense hier onderweg vir hulle siek, man. Hulle werk elke dag, hulle is elke dag daar. Hulle moet recruit, hulle moet mense gaan. Wie bring die nuwe bekeerlinge in die kerk? Die pastor preek Sondag en hy hoop miskien vir hulle. Maar wie gaan die evangelise buitekant? So is dieselfde met die Ponzi scheme. Sy sê onder nou dink sy, one day I'm gonna be there on top. Die donkie met die wortel, die borrel hang net die reg. Wat het Raymond laas ek gedoen, sy kyk oor vir sy sien. Wat is die komende? Ons gee ons 'n kyk oor vir ons sien. En dit is so 'n besigheid. Wie as jy sien geroep is hy geroep. Maar ons maak die mistake dat net omdat hy dieselfde van het. Ons gaan nou terug na wat in die Bybel gebeur het met die kings en met die profets. Die Levites was van Moses en Aaron se groep af. So net hulle kon Levites is. Ons gaan nou terug Ou Testament toe. En dan wil ons sê, we no longer live under grace, under the law, we live by grace. Maar ons sit ons mense terug na bondage toe. As jy nie dit doen nie, dan gaan God nie dit doen nie. Every spiritual blessing God has blessed us with every spiritual blessing. As jy in Christus is jy 'n nuwe skepsel en God het jou geseën met elke geestelike seëning. Dit sê nie is geld nie, man. You understand? So die Here moet regtig waar ons se mense help dat hulle moet wysheid soek. En ons praat van discernment, wat laat ons dit regtig waar moet sien, man. Ons is nie teen aan die pastor nie. Ek is baie lief vir my pastor. Stem nie altyd saam met alles nie, maar hy weet ek is baie lief vir hom. Want weet, ek sal altyd die sê, en ek wil eindig met die sê, as jy regtig waar jou pastoor wil eer, wees gehoorsaam aan die woord van die Here. Daai is meer eer vir jou pastor as enige iets. Maar as jy jou pastor wil eer, vir hom op 'n pedestal sit, maar jy dis sou by vir God in die proses, dan aanbid jy, dan is jy besig met idolatry. En God is 'n jaloerse God. Hy is 'n jaloerse God. Enige een wat ons bo God sit, daai ding of daai een bekom ons se God.
Kan jy net iets sou sê, Stan, voor jy vra?
So.
Andre het nou iets getouch, man. Andre touched on something. Andre mentioned about the pastors' children that gets the best education. Now, look, I'm very much over education. When I talk to Andre, it's just most of my conversation is about education because I'm very passionate about it. Me and my wife, we will give matriculants advice. Some of the people, even now, for all of you young people, all of the universities are opening this month, so you must apply for next year. Please, you need to educate yourself because we need because we need a productive workforce. No? Because if we don't educate ourselves, then we're going to lose out in the informal economy and the which is the gig economy, which is your Ubers, your all of your app-based work, and in the formal economy as well, where you must apply for jobs, electrician, car mechanic, stuff like that. No? So for both of those informal and formal economy, you need to have some sort of education. Now, that's a concern that Andre raised, and I want to do English because I just want to address all of the listenership as well. That I had a friend from Mitchell's Plain. He was living near Saturn Assembly of God. I love this guy to bits. And this guy went to a church in Mitchell's Plain near Smarty Town in Eastridge, and that was about 10 years ago. Faithfully was a deacon in the church. And I was busy studying that time, and he came to me because we were working together. He was that time in government. He was one of the assistants in government. It's a lower level job. And basically what happened was he was a deacon in the church in Mitchell's Plain. And he came to me and he said, "Dustin, I would like to study, but I'm scared because I didn't do well at Portland High." Ek noem nie because van Mitchell's Plain. I was at Portland High and I failed a few years. Ek was terughou and all of that stuff. So I didn't do so well because I continuously failed at Portland High. So what can I do? Because I want to study at university and I want to better my life for my family. So I told him, brother, come, let's apply for you at CPUT because he wants to do HR. And he went, and me and him, we applied for him at CPUT in Belleville to do part-time studies. He's working. And what happened and the sad thing is, man, and you still find this in the churches today. He went to go approach the pastor because now from work he must go to CPUT.
Mm-mm.
And then he gets home 10 o'clock, then he goes home.
Yeah.
So what happened was that pastor chastised him or something. That pastor told him, why are you going to study? You mustn't go study.
Mm-mm.
But meanwhile, the pastor's children are studying, and the pastor is not telling anyone that his
Yeah.
son is also
Yeah.
studying at
Yeah.
university. But he's telling now the congregation, don't go study. Why you want to go study? Trust the Lord. The Lord is going to come through for you. Whatever you need, you don't have to do anything on your own. You trust God. You give your tithes and offerings. God is going to take care of you. You know what? I told him, my brother, okay, and I don't want to mention his name. I told him, my brother, you leave that church. Okay, and he was born, and his whole family came from that church. No? His grandmother, his mother. So the whole lineage of his family is in that church. I told him, my brother, you leave that church. And he was struggling with that. He was struggling. I told him, leave the church. Your responsibility is towards your wife and your children, and you must leave a good legacy for them. You know what? That man did so well in life after he
Wow.
graduated. He sold his house in Portland near Sharon Assemblies of God,
Yeah.
and he went to go buy himself a 5-bedroom house behind Cape Gate Mall.
Mm-mm.
And
Okay.
that man is doing well for himself.
Wow.
But just
Wow.
think if he listened to
Yeah.
that pastor. Just think if he
Yeah.
listened to that pastor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then he would have still have been mentally in that
Yeah.
space of poverty and
Yeah.
struggling and stuff like that, man. And even last week, look, most of the universities last week graduated. Soos julle mos gesien het op Facebook and so
Yeah.
on social media. A lot of universities last week graduated because it was graduation week for a lot of them. And there was one pastor, his family member graduated. And I was so sad because someone sent me the link, and then someone said, what do you think of this, Dustin? It was someone, it's one of my colleagues that's working in Durban, also studying, also doing his master's, also from the same church from Mitchell's Plain. So he told me, Dustin, what do you think of this? And the pastor just said, no, I want to congratulate. Church, give this family member a round of applause. Yeah. God is going to do great things for this family member. And all that the pastor said to the congregation, guys, you must go study. Let's open our Bibles. Let's go do the word of God. What is that? Guys, all of you must go study. What is that? Why don't we emphasize for our young people? Go for it. And it's the same pastor now that said a few weeks ago, because this guy sent me another link. What do you think of this, Dustin? And this pastor, so vrachtig was sê, man.
Yeah.
Look here,
Yeah.
you guys, okay, and I'm going to paraphrase now. I don't have a
Dustin
problem
was
if you guys
daar
go
geweest.
study. Yeah, I don't have a problem if you guys go study. People of Cape Town, listen to me, man. This is what the people say, man. I don't have a problem if you go study. But first, you must get yourself a biblical degree. Now, I'm sitting there and I'm immediately saying no, because our people, according to the scarce skill that was issued by the Department of Labor Relations, that scarce skills I downloaded that document, and I am going to go into, because I've actually got to open it on my computer. Yeah. So sorry if I'm looking over the camera, and I just want to read one or two of the scarce skill from the Department of Labor. We need in this country, we need naval architects, we need chemical engineers, we need mining engineers, we need biomedical engineers, we need quantities away. That's scarce skills in this country. We need energy engineers. We need electronic engineers. We need urban and regional planners. And for the urban and regional planners, it says you must have a master's degree. This is where they take people from Cuba, and then they take the jobs in South Africa. And we sit in the church and they're teaching us, no, but God is going to come through for you. Don't you worry. Don't you do anything. You just give your tithes and offerings. For the nurses out there in the churches, as a scarce skills, their number 57, it says that you need nursing educators. You must have you must have an honors degree from
Mm,
university. Al julle nurses in die kerk kan stop being a ward nurse. You must become a nursing educator. It's a scarce skill. We need
mm,
tax professionals. We need external auditors. We need forensic
mm,
accountants. These are how many is 20 pages of scarce skills.
mm,
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen,
mm,
pastors in the church, stop saying that the
Yes.
people need theology degrees, man. Because look, I said after I'm done with my PhD in the next few
mm,
years, then I'm going to do then a theology degree via UNISA because I want to get into the Word of God. I want to get educated in the Word of God again. But I'm
mm.
going to do that once I've completed everything in my life.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to do that because then I will, as I'm getting into my older years, because I don't want to be a pastor, but I need to educate myself. So when the
Mm,
pastors preach stuff,
mm,
then I've also got and I can say, look here, but that's not what they're teaching us at university in the theology classes and stuff like that. That's where I'm coming from, man. Yo, how can you guys make such
Yes.
statements from the pulpit? You guys are
yeah,
irresponsible.
that is true.
Yes.
And I agree with you. Many churches do that. Let's say I was in a church and I heard this with my own ears where an elder said education is an abomination
Oh
because it
my
rhymes.
word.
En hy sê ja, jy het die Here nodig because die Here het jou in die lewe
Oh,
sal die Here jou guide en die Here sal vir jou sorg.
Jesus,
You
take
know
the
how many
wheel.
people weet jy hoeveel mense se lewens verwoes zijn met sulke statements, uneducated statements. Hoeveel kinders gaan die skool klaar? My Andre, we did that with the pastor, with the prophet or apostle from Elsa's River, where he told the youngsters to leave UWC and come and work for
Yes.
him.
Yes.
This is
Oh,
the type of thing
yes, yes.
that is happening in the church. So we can't really keep quiet about this. We are, you know what? Politicians want us to live in poverty so that they can
Yes.
always spin us a story. That the pastors, or many of the now pastors, not all of them, but many of them want us to live in poverty so that they can control us. We need to rise
Mm.
above that. With education comes great responsibility, and there's also a lot of things that you will learn. You will learn to be independent. You know, I just want to read some of the comments. Otherwise, we're not really gonna get to everybody. Jonathan Ray Joseph says here, I pray someday the church will understand that the purpose is to win souls and not to make capital for itself. Building the kingdom
Yes.
heaven is for better than building a kingdom earth. So what that when we build a kingdom with educated people, people that are professional people, we stop. Somebody said here, die mense het nie nodig om te study in die kerkie. Baie mense
Oh,
het die matriekie. We need to
oh,
break that cycle. What's the use? We talk about stopping generational curses, but here in the church, we're allowing it to actually breed. We need to educate ourselves. We need to go to school and do something with our lives and teach the youngsters that it is possible. So a lot of these things is lacking in the church. Ek dink of jy so lees gou Sandy sê baie lekker gesê mense Andre praat Afrikaans vir ons. Justin praat Engels. Wat sê jy so praat oor die skole wat dit gestop het. Okay, daar's baie goed op Paul, the elders is Mal Kingdom greetings. Samuel Frederick, but there was a few things here. I just wanna, yeah. Fidel said something, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I saw this 2 years ago. Yo, die Pero is volle foreigners kerke. Die colored mense hardloop hulle dood van die pastoor ry 'n kwai kar. Ek het hy gesien en hy's gebless, maar min te weet die pastoor mag geld uit die gemeente uit jong. Okay. So Pero Bellville in that area is full of churches, foreigners that are running churches, but it's pyramid scheme. You have a church here opposite the road, and the opposite here, another church, and they preach the same gospel. That actually brings me back to if we serve one God, why do we need all these churches? Why do we need all? I mean, say drie van dieselfde kerke in een area in. Why? In een pad en het sy in een skool en het sy 'n klompie kerkies. Because you know why? We want to run our own doctrines. We want to teach our own word. And that is the problem that we have with all these churches. We need to clean up our communities from all these
yep,
churches because
yep,
some of them are not like what Rick Warren is saying, purpose driven. They are not purpose
yep,
driven churches.
Yes.
They are
yep,
there for one specific
yep.
reason, and that is to make money. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Maybe we can end on it. We have 3 minutes left, but how do you guys feel about all these churches? One thing that we can learn from our Muslim brothers, there's one mosque in every area.
Yep.
They
Only
work
one.
together. That's what I love about them.
Sandy, it gaan oor die submission, man. You see, if I heard a preacher say last week, yeah, in outset we don't believe in, ek het daai woord gehad soek sê in Afrikaans van sensuur, en daai woord is hier in die Bybel nie. So what he's saying is there's no accountability. As 'n man verkeerd doen in die kerk, leier, pastor, en die kerk gaan hom nie dissipline nie, of die kerk wil hom dissipline, hy's in 'n kerk wat gedissipline word, dan vat hy 50% van die mense en hy gaan maak sy eie kyk op.
Yep.
So disobedience breeds another church, en dan is daai ene weer daar, because die cycle gaan aan mekaar begin te oor en oor, because sodra daar discipline is, pastor loop en mors op, en dan gaan begin hy aan 'n kyk, en hy vat halfte van die gemeente, en so het ons nou duisende kerke. Jy praat van Perel. 'n paar weke terug het ek vir Solomon daai ding geforward hier van Rocklands, daai ou wat eerste in Tafelsig by Yellowwood Primary. Ek meen, hy kon kyk toe met 'n Rolls Royce. 'n 30 jaar oud ou weer, ek het niks teen aan foreigners nie, maar ek dink hy's Botswana of Malawian. Hy kom hier in Mitchells Plain. Hy het 7-8 bodyguards wat om hom loop. Kyk toe. Soos ek sê, nou en dan kom hy met 'n Rolls Royce, dan 'n Bentley. En die mense, se colored mense, sy assas, sy bodyguards, sy alles. En is amazing om te sien dat ons mense val vir die kos en die kyk aan spuite weer nat met waterolie en die mense dink hulle is geseën. Hulle gaan na uit. Hy kyk het 500 tot 600, 700 mense is nou by Rocklands High School elke Sondag. Ek meen dis awesome mense. Laat weer, ek het niks teen aan die foreign ou nie. Die Here gebruik wie hy wil. Wat kyk na wat hy man preek. Luister na sy sermons. Hy sê publicly. Maar die mense is so mesmerized met hoe hy lyk. Hy lyk meer na 'n rockstar, 'n hip-hop artist, as wat hy lyk weer. En hulle gaan vir my seker nou sê, ja, wat moenie kyk na die man se uiterlike nie. God looks at the heart, almal die dinge, but daar's net sekere dinge wat ons moet doen nie, man. Ek sou gelike het, Dustin moet praat oor die qualifications, because die een ding op hy post en wat hy dag aangegaan het Dustin gesê, daar's net 2 pastors in Mitchells Plain wat 'n doctorate het. Ek wil nie hy moet name noem niks nie, maar die mense kom en dan hulle doctors en hulle is professors. Waar kry hulle die qualification? Because Dustin praat van 'n man wat 16 jaar op varsity is. En ek weet nie hoe lank wil hy nog wees nie. Maar hy moet study, man, om die titel agter sy naam te kry. Hier, het lyk my die mense download dit van die internet af. En nou sê sommer dokter, hy's professor. You understand? En dis hoe hulle ons mense deceive, because hulle lemonade ding is dierder om te lemonade as wat die qualifications eintlik is. Maar hulle is dokters, hulle is professors. En dis die tipe dinge, because ons mense swai by wanneer hy gaan study. Sy is elke dag in sy kyk, al die jare, hy gaan net trips hiertoe, Amerika toe en daartoe. Nou wanneer hy dan gestudy vir die degree of doctrine wat hy nou het. And we don't ask these kind of questions. Toe ek gister saam Reverend Zoonbury by die hof was, die een ding wat aan mekaar uitkom daar is dat people make a canonical vow to keep silent on certain issues. So dis die ding, hy het vanaand gepraat van ons moet praat oor dinge wat ons vir jare gesê het, be silent on. Dis nie vir jou, dis nie jou plek om te sê nie. Andre weet om te praat. Hy kan staan dit sê sy die skool uit. But ons moet vra man.
Yes.
Ons moet minstens vra. Die by my is dit Stanley. Peter vra. Thomas word genoem weer die doubter. Why? Because he asked questions. But if Thomas didn't ask, Lord, if you're going, where are you going? Tell us what you're gonna do. And to answer Jesus from Thomas, I am the way, the truth, and the life. So if Thomas didn't ask a question, we wouldn't have known the answer. So it's okay to ask questions. Ons question nie, hulle authority nie, ons vra net pastor, hoekom doen ons wat ons doen? Hoekom het ons tot by dit gekom, you understand? En dis hoekom ek wil hê Dustin moet net praat oor die qualifications. Die doctors, especially, waar kry die ouens die credentials om dokter genoem te word?
You've got 40 minutes over 1 hour. You've got 3 minutes, Dustin. 3 minutes.
Guys, pastors, I want to talk to you directly on the show. I want to talk to you directly. Stop. Listen to me, please. Stop frauding. If you say that you have a PhD, you have a doctorate, and the institution where you got it from is not accredited by the Department of Basic Higher Education in South Africa. I'm not talking about being accredited by institutions from America, like some of you guys must say on your shows. Oh no, we are our biblical school is accredited to a school in America. Congregants, you guys must ask, where is the South African Higher Education Department SAQA registration number for this university? Because I'm going to waste my money and I'm going to waste 3 years of my life studying, and then the paper that I graduate with is worth nothing. You've wasted your time for you basically threw 3 years of your precious God-given life on this earth. You threw it away. En jy was amper geroep ook soos jy geloop het kerk toe vir die Bybelskool. Please people, pastors, stop being fake. You are fake if you portray a PhD from an institution that's not South African registered. All of those American universities that your institutions are registered with are not even registered with the American Higher Degrees Authority in their own country. Most of them say we are not affiliated with any official education department in the United States of America. So they are also fraud. Please, doctors, professors, you need a master's to get a PhD. It is a South African requirement. You need a master's degree to get a doctorate, which is a PhD. And once you get a PhD, then you can only become a professor if you have been accepted in the post of a professor at a university, a qualified university in South Africa. There's no honorary professorship. I want to teach our people in Mitchell's Plain, there's no honorary professorship in any university. Please, ladies and gentlemen, there's only PhDs, honorary PhDs. And from there on, a professorship is a specific post. It's not really a qualification that you study for. Universities say it's a job, it's a post. From a PhD, we've got a post for a professor to teach other masters and PhD students to graduate. So please, ladies and gentlemen, pastors, and I'm ending with this, I'm making a humble request. You are from the devil if you portray yourself as fake. You are, according to the SAQA legislation, you are, what's the word? Oh, my Lord. You are portraying and you are fakely portraying yourself as a qualification which you really never officially attain. Don't do that. Don't be fake. Don't be fraudulent. That's the word. Don't be fraudulent.
That's fraudulent.
Respect your own title as bishop. Respect your own title as pastor, as apostle. There's power in that. It's because you guys are now very insecure about being a bishop and an apostle and a pastor. Now you guys want to be. Don't scratch there, man.
Doctor.
I'm studying hard to become a PhD, man. Don't please, man. Wits charge me 20,000 rand just for an acceptance fee, just to be in the program. Please, guys, man. We reg man staan, man. Ons manne study PhD, ne? And please, man, because Stan, Andre, ek sit hier en as ek so in die aand in, because my professor stuur vir my net so nou my chapter van 30 bladsye terug, do it over, man. Because they skryf gemors, man. But die manne kan dan nie eens reg praat E's and O's and sorry, church people, do you know how your pastor and your bishop is really not qualified when they mix up the E's and the O's? We is. They is. Then you know Debra a suspect. When you guys hear those adjectives and the vowels, you can lekker praat nie. No, seriously. I'm not taking anyone in the face. The Bible says you must test the spirits. You must test the person, the spirit in the person. How you test that person, how that person speaks. Because us, as honest masters, PhD people, we are being hammered every day. You must write properly. You must write properly. Your E's and your R's, your was and your was. Dan weet hoe die knapies praat. No, we is. And God was, and God are. No, guys, man.
And we
You guys
aren't.
are putting us in academia. Julle maak vir scam, man. Stop this
Yeah,
nonsense.
Here help
This
ons.
good nonsense, guys, man.
yeah,
Really,
yeah,
man. Because some of us are spending long hours. I mean, PhD stand, Andre.
yeah,
It takes years. You
yeah,
cry. You give up. I lost 15,000 rand just so. 15,000 at Wits. Just
yeah,
before COVID, I booked me and my wife the flights because I had to go to a PhD seminar at Wits School of Governance. I had to pay. I lost just so, and I had to pay out of my own pocket. 15,000. Airbnb gone. A week
yeah,
before COVID, 16th of March 2020. Fly FA gone.
yeah,
We're not going to refund you.
yeah,
15,000 just so gone.
yeah,
Plus, I gave another 20,000. Pastors, don't fraud, man. Don't come across because you guys are from the devil, number one, and you are fraudulent. And the
yeah,
people must ask the pastors, show us the SAQA registration of your
yeah, yeah,
qualification. Ons wil nie
yeah,
hoor van Amerika
yeah,
no affiliation nie, because hulle self is in 'n gemors, hulle self is affiliated nie.
yeah,
Please, people, you must ask questions, man. Pastors,
yeah.
stop that foot nonsense.
And you are so right. You are so right there, Justin. He's a college in in Strandfontein, and so a guy came from Botswana somewhere, and he came to live here at my father's church in Strandfontein, and he lived here for 3 years. And during the 3 years, he went to go study at this
Yes,
college.
I know that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and this man was so excited because he was graduating. He even took my father-in-law with him the day of graduation to put on a suit. He came all the way from his poor country to come study here. When he got this qualification, something told my father-in-law just to go follow up. Are these people accredited?
Yes, you must.
They were not accredited. This man wasted 3 years of his time towards a theology, and he went home heartbroken. He had to come back again to study at another place. Luckily, accommodation was free. But this is the type of things happening in the church. We say we are pastors. It's the same as me. If I don't do my job properly, if I don't have the qualifications, my boss can fire me because I'm
Yes,
lying. The same with those guys that is in the DA that
exactly.
lied about their qualifications.
Yes,
They should have been fired. And that is why we need to talk about this, because lying about your qualification is a crime. And,
yeah.
and it should be a crime to the
It
church
is
also.
a
I just
crime.
I just want to end up with this thing. I think there should be a regulatory body on the Cape Flats in Cape Town where men are sitting on top, real men, men that have manne wat die woord ken en wat die kyk wat regulate, and they must regulate. People must come through them. Check out the qualifications. If there's a
I
complaint, right?
agree.
There is no regulatory body now, so that's why these guys are
Nothing.
doing what they're doing. It's the same with the NPOs and with the NGOs as well. There's no regulatory body, and they do whatever they want to do, and that is where we're lacking. But guys, we had an awesome evening tonight, hour and 24 minutes. Thank you so much. Ons het baie gepraat. Ons kan nog baie praat. But Dustin, anything that you want to end up with, and Andre, anything that you guys just want to say
Yes.
before we
Can I just go there, Andre? I just want to look. I'm like all about educating people. People, if you want to find out if your pastor is a real PhD, then what you do on Google, you type in that pastor's name and you say thesis, THESIS, because with every PhD qualification, you must have a thesis that you have written, and your university must have stored it on the internet. So, for example, for Dustin Davids, you say Dustin Davids thesis, and then you will see there's my master's coming up. You understand? So, for the pastors as well, type in that pastor's name, and I typed in a lot of them in Mitchell's Plain. Daar komt dan niks op. Stan is op silent. En daar komt dan niks op. Maar
maar
niks.
ek het nou goed, daar's
Maar
'n paar
Bishop-
pastors wat ek gewoon nie wil check gewoon moet ons play ons gou.
Ja,
Maar
typ
ek is
hulle
maar
name
so-
in. Kerkmense, moenie sê congratulations nie, man. Don't just say congratulations. Don't be ignorant. I'm teaching you something now. Test the spirit, their name and their surname, and write thesis. If there's no thesis, there's no PhD equals fake. God bless you guys. Stay woke,
Andre,
Mitchell, the people of Cape Town. Stay
stay
woke.
woke. Stay woke. Andre?
Stan, ek is net dankbaar weer vir die opportunity man. Soos ek maar weer sê, ek het maar staan dit 7, dis tot sy gaan nie agter my uitkom nie. Ek het net staan dit 7. But ek is net dankbaar en bly dat daar 'n platform is man. Dis wat die kerk lankal nodig het. As jy praat oor die dinge in die kerk, dan word sy geostracized, sy word gelabel, sy word weggehou van sekere dinge. Ek wil nie priekie, die Here ken my hart. As ek wil preek reg, hier is die hoeke is vol. You understand? So die wêreld is my pulpit. So mense wat die goedes praat word weggehou van posisies af in die kerk. So ek is net bly dat Stanley, en ek sê altyd vir hom, die Here het vir jou die platform gegee. Ek bid dat hy moet terug kerk toe kom man, en daai is hoekom ek so baie met hom praat. But hy het die platform en die mense man. En hy kan met sy platform kan hy 'n groot verandering bring. So dit is nie om niemand te sê nie, die Here ken my hart, maar dit is om vir mense te educate en om vir mense waaksaam te maak man. As jy die red flag sien man, loop weg, stop, skot jou skoensies af en gaan kry 'n ander plek. Is so right in die klaskamers. Daar's niks verkeerd daar wat 2 en 3 vergader. Die Here is daar nog altyd. But we always think that better or bigger is better. En daai sê altyd die keuse. Net omdat die worship team CD's sny en almal hy goed doen, sê nie God is daar nie. You understand? Die Here is nog altyd, ek sê nie hy is ook nie daar nie, maar wat ek sê is dat God dwells among the praises of his people man.
Yes.
So daar wat ons harte reg is en ons weet wat ons motives is, God will meet you at the point of your need man. Weer eens dankie Dustin. Jy het vanaand vir my ook geeducate en dankie Stan vir die platform. Dankie.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
So much. Ons maak weer so binnekort. Een keer 'n maand dan praat ons weer. So thank you guys. And I'll chat to you guys soon. Thanks Andre, thanks Justin.
Stay woke, guys. Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, it was Andre and Dustin. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation tonight. The topic is important vir ons om hieroor te praat. Julle gaan miskien kwaad is vir my en sê ja, hoe praat jy oor, but in everything we need to educate our people. Alles moet ons mense leer. And we need to, sometimes I will be wrong and I will admit it when I'm wrong. And so we will learn and we will go forward. The church is a big problem in the communities of the Cape Flats. One of the biggest problems. And there is things that we need to address. It's things that we need to talk about. During COVID, I've seen that the church wasn't very active, wasn't very busy. To die kerke toemaak, né? To die kerk toemaak. To die kerk toe. Nobody, maybe a few churches maybe serve the community food and so on. And we must talk about these things. We need to keep people accountable. Net soos ons die politicians vasvat, net soos ons die imams gaan vasvat, net soos ons die pastore vasvat, moet ons almal vasvat en ons moet die ding regmaak, because the end of the day is, if we see things are wrong and we don't address it, we are part of the problem, you know. But guys, thank you so much. Ek is lief vir julle. Dankie. We were more than 100 people tonight, consistently on the program. So that shows me people like this. And we're gonna talk more. Ons moet alles moet reggemaak word, and we must fix it ourselves, you know. So Dwayne, hope you well. Lucas, Jonathan, Bishop, Samuels, who's there still? Jesse. Hope you guys are well. Dwayne, I see you guys are doing amazing work. I follow you on the Belha chat. Keep up, brother. Keep up. Keep pushing. Keep doing things for our people. That's the way how we fix communities, once we start doing it for ourselves. Brothers and sisters, hou die peace en bid vir my. So Joe Andre sê ek moet weer terug kerk toe kom. I don't have an issue with that, and we will come back to church. We will fix the church. We will fix this country. We will fix our community, because we're going to fix our first self, and then we will come back into the church, into those places. Guys, have an awesome evening. Lucas, ek is nog nie 'n pastor nie. I was a deacon back in the day. They used to call me Deacon Stan, and I was supposed to qualify to an elder, but it wasn't my calling. I was more of a worship team leader. Guys, have an awesome evening, and God bless you guys. Cheers.